guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about something that I personally find terrifying, mainly because I think of scenarios like this because paranoia the house, apparently. Roman Atwood. Now, if you haven't ever heard this name, if you've heard this name and you're not familiar, you are pretty much in the same boat that I was like a couple days ago. So I was doing research and the case of Roman Atwood is very interesting. The case, no one died or anything. The case always makes me think it's a murder. Nothing like that. There was a very serious and alarming situation that went on in his life, and he's only recently kind of explained what happened. But before we get into that, Roman Atwood is a family vlogger. I know that family channels are typically stereotyped in a negative way, which I think the majority of the big family channels like the Ace family and so on are toxic. I don't like them. I do not watch them, hence why I didn't know. But as far as I've seen, Roman Atwood's channel seems to be very wholesome, very positive. I just remember reading a lot of comments of people saying that like they grew up watching his channel because he's been on YouTube for 12 years, if I'm not remembering incorrectly. He runs a family channel, he's married, he has over 15 million subscribers, and he also has kids. He had a very regular uploading schedule until January 2020, where essentially the family went missing off the internet. And by that I mean is it's just like they up and left without explaining to anyone where they were going. You know, sometimes YouTubers take breaks and say, okay, I'll be back, but they didn't do that. Initially, a portion of the viewers were confused, obviously, but as time went on and as they continued to be absent, or they'd post every so often on Twitter, you know, wishing happy birthday to his wife, or, you know, just like these sporadic posts that weren't on YouTube but on social media, some of the viewers got really frustrated because it's like you just kind of up and left without telling us anything. And I think a lot of viewers just felt very close to the family, so I think a lot of them took it perhaps more personally. So people really just kept asking like, where is Roman? Like, what's going on? Like, what? You know, which makes sense, because if I just up and left without telling you guys anything, it would be normal for you guys to be like, hello, like what's going on? And I'm sure a lot of people are concerned. Well, basically there is a video that came out about a week ago that explains relatively briefly, because they were gone for a year or so and it was only like 15 minutes-ish, what's been going on in their lives. I'm going to include a couple of clips here for context, but I suggest you watch the video yourself just so you can get all the information. What occurred was that they were getting stalked. And when I say stalked, I'm not talking about the kind of harassment that you sign up for when you have a YouTube channel. And as sad as that is, you know, the reality is if you sign up for any type of social media, whether you choose to like do that as a career or a hobby, or if you just post here and there just for fun, it doesn't matter what your goal is or what you're trying to do. Most of the time you are going to get a hateful comment that's just mean for no reason. You might get someone harassing you, you might get someone, you know, being very pushy in the DMs. Like, these are things that anyone, not only influencers, content creators, this is something that affects everyone. I think content creators, there's a little more of that because I think people on the internet get very bold and say a lot of things that they would never say to your face, and so they have this kind of feeling of power that in reality they not only don't have, but it's a power that is perverse because it's used to send death threats, harass you, potentially dox you, all things I've experienced. You know, when you sign up for YouTube, unfortunately, if you want to create content and if you have a following, that is going to happen. But what was happening to Roman was not that. They were getting really serious things. So like in the video, I'll put the clips.
The stalkers, it turns out, and they're so scary. I want you to imagine that you have to have a funeral for somebody that you love. These stalkers bomb threaded a funeral.
To where literally we had to have like the FBI there.
Like the FBI's at the funeral because of these people. And this is like a fraction of what they're doing. They've done everything from like getting into our life. They've gotten into our literally in our vehicles, like shutting our vehicles on and off and powering them on and off and
setting the alarm off while we're just sitting at home with our kids.
Like the alarm in our house. They turn the power off to our home. This home, they turn the power off in the middle of the winter. Like, we have kids, like, we have a family. That mindset to do that to somebody is above and beyond. Like, I can't comprehend it. I just cannot comprehend it. I'm driving, like, somewhere. You're just driving. And you get a call from your insurance rep to ask why we canceled our insurance.
Yeah, we were
like,
literally driving without car insurance.
No car insurance. Like, illegally driving because this stalkers shut our insurance off. They got in and canceled our policies without us knowing.
He had everything. He had our phone numbers, everything. He would literally text us saying, like, if we don't respond or whatever.
It was always threatening.
It was always very, very threatening.
It's like you'd get a text or like a Discord message or something that would be like,
even
if you don't,
voicemail.
Yeah, voicemails, tons of like, always threatening. Like, if you don't respond to me, you know, this is a game to me. And then like we would spend all the time to get our numbers changed, like get all it changed, and then instantly he'd text like, you think you can just change your number, or like,
Yeah.
you think you can hide, or just super scary, guys. Like when you think of like intrusive, like it's the most intrusive feeling that we've ever had. It's the worst experience we've ever had in our life. Above and beyond like the harassment of like accounts and hacking and stalking, it was like death threats. Like, he literally would say like, he threatened to like hang our whole family on crosses, burn our house down.
In their video, they listed such alarming behavior, from their power being turned off by these stalkers. Apparently there's more than one. They were getting hacked in all sorts of ways. Anytime they changed numbers, hacker or hackers would find them. They had their auto insurance canceled when they weren't the ones who canceled it. So they were essentially driving just like without insurance, which is illegal in certain places. So there were a lot of things that were just done that put them in danger effectively. Now, this goes without saying, but they were also getting death threats. Roman mentioned that the stalker or stalkers wanted to like hang all of their family on crosses. It's fucked up to say that to anyone ever, but as parents, I think that when that happened, they realized they were dealing with someone or a group of people who really just were dangerous, because sending death threats to YouTubers is shitty, but somewhat expected, and that doesn't make it okay. Shitty still. But aiming for children, one of whom is like a baby, that is a new level of, you know, just degenerate behavior that is very alarming, because it's like, what have these children done to you? Like, you can disagree with their parents, I don't know on what, you know, it's a pretty wholesome family channel. I don't even know why they specifically were targeted. But in the video, he even mentioned that he had to have the FBI at a funeral because the funeral received bomb threats. I found this interesting, not only because it's deeply alarming, but because this is a topic that I talk about a lot with my friends and family, is the detachment from reality that certain people experience being on the internet. I remember writing a paper about it when I was in undergrad, and it's not just, you know, the whole concept of mob mentality, which is still a thing, but it's just, I think, you know, with all the technology we have today, I'm about to sound like such a boomer, but with all the technology we have today, with the amount of anonymity we can have, I think people just get very, very bold, and they forget that they're talking to actual humans. Now, for people who send death threats, I can't relate to that, so I can't really comment on that other to say that this sole notion has never come to my mind. The same way for doxing people, I've never found that justifiable, you know, and people are always like, well, what if it's a criminal or blah, blah, blah. Well, what you do is you contact the police, and then you can give the address, phone number, whatever you have to the police, but releasing it online typically isn't useful, and then you put people in danger. And a lot of the times that I've even seen people dox, some of my own friends on YouTube and myself, is over such petty things that when I tell my family who isn't on the internet, they don't really, they don't believe it initially. Obviously, they know I'm not bullshitting them on something that's serious, but you know, the fact that people feel this kind of freedom and anonymity to do what they did to Roman Atwood is disgusting to me. It irks me in a way because these people kind of take power over other people's lives, and even if you don't want your power taken from you, if it's fucking with your own family, especially children, you're not going to take chances So it does feel like you're under somebody else's thumb. Like I know that when I got doxxed, thankfully I was gonna move anyway because my lease for my apartment was up. I experienced obviously something completely minor compared to them. There's no comparison being made here, by the way. When I got doxxed, I remember there was just this feeling of anxiety of like, okay, am I gonna get swatted? And you know, some people get killed being swatted, or you know, like, are they going to release my family's information, which was the biggest concern for me? Are they going to show up at my house? And then I had to change my number, call all of my relatives who were low-key freaking out because I never changed my number. Knowing what I experienced in the very minimal way that I did, I can't even imagine what they must have gone through. And even in their video, they mentioned that they would be on the phone all day trying to make sure that none of their other things were messed with, because if they, you know, canceled their car insurance, who knows what else they tried to cancel? Who knows what small ways they wanted to kind of endanger them in some indirect way, I suppose. I'm just glad that they're all okay. In the video, they seemed not happy. They weren't happy to talk about it, but it seemed like they're starting a new chapter, so I hope everything's being taken care of. The FBI has been heavily involved, so I hope that they find who these stalkers are, because they're deeply alarming, and I feel like Roman Atwood probably isn't the first person they did this to. Like, that would seem surreal to me that they're just randomly like, oh, let's just make this person's life miserable. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and let's get